you start learning this?
I started learning this sometime last year, probably
Okay.
the summer is probably when I
Wonderful.
learned this.
Now I'm assuming you're also playing the other movements as well, right?
I learned them before. I didn't learn them all at the same time. I learned them.
All right. Okay. There is one general suggestion that I have that you have to pay very close attention to, which is that you need to pay attention to the pedal, because sometimes it seems as if that you are switching them, but you are not following it through quite, how it clears. Because see, eventually what has to happen, we have to have clear sense of the harmonic progression or harmonic change. And very often pedal is used in the sense that we try to use it as a we are trying to compensate for some of the technical difficulties that we might experience, and that should never happen. So pedal is always just to add the color to the tone, to the sound. So any more use of pedal, which is seldom, sometimes we might need to, but definitely not in Beethoven. Definitely not in Beethoven. So before we'll play again this from the very beginning, I want you to give you a heads up, because when this left hand comes in as a triplet, the clarity of the triplet itself has to be more present. However, at the moment, what I'd like you to try to play it slowly, but could you play? Essentially, that's what it is. It's a harmonic progression, but we have to have clear ideas of how does one harmony changes to another, and how do we switch from one dynamic to another. Could you play one slowly, please?
The chords blocked, or
No, first of all, the pedal is not clean. It's not. So first, another thing is that I also noticed as you moved to the higher, to the other dynamic, it seems like your hand was looking for the notes. Could you try once more without pedal, please? Now, it sounded better. However, I didn't hear much difference between the dynamic of the piano and the forte. Dynamics are extremely important, obviously. But all of the markings that we see in Beethoven's music is very, very important, because you know how meticulous Beethoven was when he was writing. You probably have seen some of his manuscripts. How many times he would cross the things and then write it all over again and then again and then so he was perfectionist in that sense. He was meticulous about writing things in a certain way that he would want it to sound. So when we see forte and piano, which it happens very often with Beethoven that whenever he means to have crescendo, he writes crescendo. But if there is no crescendo, there should not be any indication of crescendo. So now the level between forte and piano, don't forget that there's supposed to be mezzo forte and mezzo piano in between. So if you have forte and piano very close to each other, there is no space in between for the other dynamics. So this is all relative to how are we going to estimate how much piano and how much forte we should play. So for example, when you're playing, you need to make it more dynamic, almost theatrical in the sense that we don't have any question if there's a piano or forte. Right? Could you try once more with no pedal, please? That was better, but to my ear it wasn't enough, because I think at the moment what we would also have discovered within ourselves when we are playing, to find ourselves comfortable in a comfort zone beyond our comfort zone. So sometimes it feels a little bit strange and maybe sometimes uncomfortable, but we need to practice it that way too. I'll give you one example. in a kind of strange sense, we musicians and performers, we are like actors. We come out on stage, but instead of gestures, instead of speech, we have only one means to express ourselves, which is through the sound, right? Can you imagine if the actor comes out on stage and they start to read the play instead of acting, right? It would be interesting in a sense, because then you would say, well, I can read this myself. Why do I have to just listen to someone reading it on the stage? In the music, it's somewhat similar. So we would have to find a way to express ourselves in a much stronger manner so that our expression is quite vivid. But it comes only through sound, only through the sound. So try to find one more time, this a little bit slower, please. Because in a way, deep down, this has to resolve in this. As if there is a little bit more tension in this second chord and the resolve of this. And of course, the next step would be just to break it in the triplets. But before we break this in the triplets, we have to hear it quite well harmonically how it should go. Could you try once more, please, with no pedal? Much better. Thank you. That was much better. That was much better. Now, as you are playing forte, try to find the way to put more weight into the keys without using your muscle. Could you try it from the forte? From the shoulders. Yeah? Thank you. That was much better. That was much better. Now try one more time, a little bit faster, the same way, and then continue. No triplets. Thank you, Rebecca. The thing is that as I'm looking at while you are playing, I notice that as you are moving your hands up, you are still looking for the keys. You know? And we need to avoid that in a sense, not about looking at the keyboard, but in terms of searching for the right pitches. So for that, we have to hear it first. And then, inadvertently, our hands will find its right place. You know, so when you are playing from here, for example, make bigger distinction between this intonation and the previous segment, because this is more lyrical, right? As a matter of fact, you have staccatos with the slur in the right hand, and in the left hand, you have only slurred chords. So it's and only here we have legato. Could you play just this phrase, please? Now, I'm sorry to start it. Yes, it is better. However, this staccato that you have in the right hand, you are playing it with the finger staccato. This is not the finger staccato here. Look at my wrist. It's a slurred staccatos with the corner. And the reason why it is like this, it has to have some kind of tail of the sound. With this gesture, you will have more tail of the sound. This is different. You hear this probably, right? play just right hand, please? Yes. Yes, that was better. That was better. One more time, please. Thank you. Now together with left hand. Yeah, left hand has to be learned, right? Also, when you're playing left hand, sometimes the G doesn't come off. Could you play just left hand, please? As a matter of fact, also, I think in your score it should be the same thing. It's separated. And if you're not going to separate them, then pinky might stay there, and then we are catching some extra overtones there. Could you try once more with both hands, please? Yes, that was better. Also. More legato in left hand. More legato in left hand, please. Could you try again? Yeah. So that's that. You understand how to practice this, right? Because at the moment, especially later, the pedal became domineering. It was dominating, and it was sometimes a little bit difficult to listen, to hear a real material, because it was covered with the pedal. Even though I noticed that you were still switching, but it wasn't switching well enough, right? So that's it. Now, could you try once more from here? For this passage. And this has to be double forte, very strong. And continue, and after that, continue again as a chord. Continue as a chord, not as a triplet. One more time, cleaner, please. Cleaner. Oops. Okay. There are a couple of issues. Rebecca, do you have a score in front of you?
Yes.
Yeah, use it. That'd be helpful. Also, but the fact is at the moment, as you can tell, that you're still looking for the notes, because we have to have clear idea of what is the main body of the music, so to speak, you know? I think you got used to those triplets, but now it's as if like we lost the coordination of where we really need to go. So musically, you would have to be more also the way you play this chord. Play them more like a harmony. So that you would feel harmonically where you need to land. Also, it would give you some freedom of finding within your fingerings. So within the technicality, because your hand would learn on what position to land, so to speak. Yeah, could you try one more time right away from here, please? exposes us, this kind of element, right? But it's okay. The point is that now you know what to fix, right? I mean, that's quite all right as long as when you are practicing, so you have freedom of those are nice harmonies, right? So it has to be all observed and internalized, so to speak. Quite dramatic music in a sense, on its own. And after this, it will be much easier to break this up. Play one slowly. Now, see what happens now. It is better, but at the same time, I'd like to hear some reactions to the change of harmonies or of the sequence that we have. Yeah, because otherwise it may seem like that you are busy getting through technically this segment, and that way you don't have to actually think about it. It's what I'm asking at the moment to do is to switch your mindset to a different objective rather than technically going. You will go through technically, but first you need to know musically how does it move. And within which technically you'll find a way to play. Could you play one more time, a little bit faster, but as a harmony? Sorry. Okay. Okay, now, I would suggest for now to practice the entire piece, or it would be hard to practice the whole movement at once. And as a matter of fact, you may start practicing from different sections. You don't always have to start practicing from the very beginning. But whichever section you decide to practice, play them as harmonies. Don't play them as triplets. And there's a reason for it. As you are playing the chords, you would need to voice the harmony, right? It's not just a bunch of notes played together. You would always have to find a way to balance it and to voice it. For that, you would naturally think about the way you would position your hand on the key. You know? And after that, it will be much easier to play the triplet. So that applies to entire movement. Now, could we continue from this section, please? So in this section, when you are playing, make this this right hand just sing a little bit more, please. Could you try? Okay, thank you, much better. Actually, this is one of the episodes when I would suggest to explore if you could add a little bit of touch of pedal here, especially in the higher register, when you go high. Now, also with this, start rubato a little bit earlier. So that's one thing. Now, as we are starting to this on a one breath, as if it's a one phrase, because it is. So as if you are playing this, singing this melody on the one breath. Could you try once more, please? I'm sorry to start with that, but I think you got used to it. But start together on the second beat. Yeah, that would be probably. I don't know. Do you have written out in your score differently?
It doesn't. No, it probably is right on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So that's good. Now, as you go to the high register. In a high register, you can add a little pedal, just a little bit, so that it could ring a little bit more. Yeah. Could you try once more on the high from the high register? Nice. But switch the pedal. No, hold on. It is better, but you are not switching the pedal. Or you might think that you are switching, but it doesn't clear. So, one, I cannot see your foot, but it's okay. But remember, when you are pressing the pedal, you don't have to press all the way down. You can just press it just a tiny bit. It will still pick up. And different pianos are different, obviously. We have to adjust according to that. But make sure that you are adding. The pedal is like a. I'll give you one strange example. It's like a spice. You add too much salt, it's too salty, or to add too much pepper, it's too spicy, and then, or if it's not enough, it's not enough. It has to be added according to the taste and according as much as it needs to have, right? So therefore, be aware of it, how much you would need to add the spice to. And if it's too much, then it becomes a little bit too much, and that's that. No? So we have to be aware. So, do you have any questions so far from me?
No, sir.
Listen, it is one of those things, one of those moments that is quite exciting, and it has to be exciting, obviously. But we have to have a very clear idea of harmonically how it is developing, how it is built. Yeah. So if you are going to focus on the triplets itself, it will be harder to play the whole thing. But if you focus on harmonically how this whole movement is built, then it will be much easier. Because then you will break this triplet. Yeah? So don't forget when you practice. Also, those are quarter note staccatos, those are not too short. Those are not a little bit stronger. A little bit held. Instead of no, too short now. I would again use my wrist. Could you play once right hand? Yeah, so we have to learn, your ear needs to learn this. Ears, not the hand, but the ear. Right? Try once like this one more time, please. Yes, much better. Now break it. Now let's play the way it's written. In this tempo. what do you have on A flat?
3. 3.
What finger do you have?
3.
Pardon? 3. So when you turn, don't turn to the thumb only. Turn to the entire chord. As if you are turning into the entire position, entire chord. So instead of focusing on every single note, you just have to focus on the entire chord, which happen to have 4 notes. Right? Will you try once more like this? And also what you can do when you are practicing, look. From here, go to entire chord. Instead of... Will you try? Okay, now do it slower but in the same tempo. Okay, now slowly. Now look at my hand. I move quick to the entire position. Yes, one more time. So the middle, those 2 middle notes are a little bit iffy at the moment. So you notice. So it kind of gives us exactly the clear idea what we need to practice, or what we need to improve. What we need to improve. So once we know what to improve, then it's actually much easier. You just have to spend some time with it, right? So listen, it is exciting and well, good luck with this piece.
Thank
It's
you.
going to be wonderful. You just have to be patient. Yeah, don't try to play through. Try to experience it. And you will naturally gravitate to it, and we're going to do it without, having that as an objective. Okay? Any questions?
No. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Wonderful. Good luck.